fired from Yemen has hit an area near Israel's Ben Gurion International Airport. There's been damage near the airport and on a nearby road. All flights in and out of the facility were initially suspended. I'm joined now by our defense editor, Alex Kopoulos, and Hamda Salhout, who's reported extensively on Israel's war on Gaza in both Israel and Amman in Jordan. Thank you very much. We need your expertise at this particular point in time, both of you. Alex, you start with your military breakdown of this.
They're talking about now, there are reports that there was a crater 25 meters deep, which is huge. And this indicates that not only was it a direct hit, but it indicates that it was moving at phenomenal speeds as well. The word hypersonic is being bandied around, although that can be misleading, but certainly far faster than normally would. And this could have been very much one of the ways that the Houthis managed to overwhelm Israel's air defenses. Now, this is a multi-layer thing. It's one of the most heavily protected areas on Earth, and you have Iron Dome, and you have American THAAD, which is Terminal High Area Defense, and then you have the Barrack 8 and Arrow 2 and 3 to intercept ballistic missiles exactly like this, and yet it got through. So this is quite something on top.
First direct hit on Ben Gurion Airport, right?
Yes, right. And this is all after 40 US airstrikes on Houthi positions just yesterday. So you can imagine this is an ongoing campaign to totally degrade and destroy Houthis' capability to be able to wage war. And yet, after all that, they have, and they still are able to.
Hamda, you know the area, the geography of this airport. We're looking at the video. I mean, I see planes and landing strips. That tells us how close it is to the actual airport facility itself.
That's right. The airport is not just the airport itself. It's actually a series of checkpoints and all of the roads around it that lead up to the airport. Like Alex was saying, this is one of the most protected and highly secure areas on the planet. There are a lot of different air defenses and security mechanisms that are put in place here to make sure that something like this doesn't happen. So this sort of direct hit from a Houthi missile is unprecedented. And there are a lot of questions at this hour within the Israeli army, within the Israeli security establishment, as to how this was not intercepted. Because in the last year and a half, look, we've reported month after month, week after week, about these types of Houthi missiles that are launched, but largely intercepted, and also intercepted, I'll add, in areas that are outside of Israeli airspace. So they barely even reach over Israeli territory, and they're intercepted outside of that. So this time, the alarms are going to be ringing within the Israeli military saying, how did this happen? How could this happen not just at the airport, but also a year and a half into the war? It's also going to raise a lot of questions within the Israeli public themselves, who are exhausted from this war, who've been protesting constantly against their leadership, saying that they have had significant failures when it comes to this war. And this is something that there are surely going to be demonstrations against, something that's going to be brought up by Netanyahu's political opposition as to how these types of security failures are still happening more than a year and a half later.
This is one of the key things, isn't it? For the last year and a half of these Houthi missile attacks, we have kind of thought, you may laugh at this with your military expertise, but we've kind of thought, well, Israel can handle these missile attacks, right? Because most of when we report on the missile attacks, most of the time we say, well, the missile was intercepted before it even entered Israeli airspace. So there was this idea, Israel's broadly capable of handling these missiles. And now it has hit arguably one of the most strategic, well, not arguably, one of the most strategic locations in the country.
Right. And as Hamda rightly said, this is going to be a wake-up call for the Israeli military as well. They're going to be starting to ask themselves a lot of quite hard questions of how this managed to get through and was detected. They could see it coming, yet they couldn't stop it. And that's going to make them feel very, very vulnerable. And if you've got your best already there, what more can you do? So this is something where maybe the Houthis have found some sort of strategic vulnerability in Israelis' air defenses.
Right. If they already have all the layers of protection that you described, how can they guarantee another missile isn't going to hit and actually have a direct hit on the airport next time? Alex, Hamda, thank you very much. Ori Goldberg is an Israeli political commentator. Ori, you're joining us from Tel Aviv. Your initial thoughts as you found out that a Houthi missile had actually penetrated and got through the Israeli defenses and hit the broader vicinity of the airport?
Well, very embarrassing. This was supposed to be the one area of military activity where Israel can claim success, probably almost full success. Israel has been trumpeting the achievements of its Iron Dome system and its more advanced strategic missile defense systems to the world. We were all told that this was what was going to resuscitate the Israeli defense industry. This is very embarrassing. But also think for a second of what that means in terms of the proportions of life in Israel. You have one missile being shot from Yemen, can do a lot of damage, but it's still one missile. One missile is enough to rock Israel to its core, which should give you an indication of how weak the structural foundations of Israeli society and of Israeli institutions like the military are at the moment.
Ori, there's a error on there's a mistake and a failure on the tactical level, right, of failing to intercept this missile. Isn't there also, and feel free to disagree here, a mistake on a strategic level? For the last year and a half, Israel has been saying, well, the Houthis are attacking us, they say, because they want to support the Palestinians, whom Israel is currently killing and bombing and starving. We don't care about what the Houthis are saying. All we'll do is we'll degrade their military capabilities. We're a year and a half into this. It hasn't worked. It isn't working. And a missile has just struck Ben Gurion Airport. Isn't that strategically a failure?
Oh, very much so. I heartily agree. Very much a strategic failure, but mostly because Israel has consciously refused to even employ strategy. Israel wants its actions, for domestic consumption mostly, to appear as necessary and inevitable. Israel wants to say, what else could we have done? Or what would you have done differently? To make the genocidal campaign Israel has been carrying out in Gaza and in the West Bank over the past year and a half, to make it seem like there was no other choice. In order to do that, you have to deny the strategic layer of reality in toto. You cannot accept strategic implications. All you need and all you want are tactics. As long as you're embroiled in the tactics, it all seems like, what other choice did you have? When you go to a strategic level, when you start to consider things like the general rate of success the Israeli military has enjoyed in Gaza, or whether killing, as the IDF trumpeted, killing the battalion commander in Shajaiya for the 7th time, whether that is a military achievement, and you're immediately faced with the abysmal failure. And Israel has abysmally failed. So no strategy is a conscious choice.
What are the strategic options for Israel? Again, I'm not talking tactical, I'm not talking military, but strategically, you have to wonder, at this point in the conflict, how do you go forward?
Israel has only two strategic options, and it denies them both. One is to reach an agreed-upon, diplomatically oriented resolution, and the other is to occupy Gaza. Netanyahu doesn't want to occupy Gaza. Netanyahu doesn't want a diplomatic solution. Netanyahu has always been comfortable with seemingly interim solutions that last forever. I think that is what he thinks he can pull off, or that is what he has no choice but to attempt to pull off. The only two strategic options, the only means of going forward, are to reach an agreement or to occupy Gaza.
Ori Goldberg, Israeli political commentator. Thank you very much.
Thank you.